Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high.
Start with
Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized.
Yes, you got that story. Go ahead.
It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
We can do that right
No
after
more
charts, I
9
guess.
to 5. What a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees, no more 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees, no more 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized.
Like me now.
It's crypto paradise. Ooh.
Talk about something. I know, right?
No banks, no fees, no more 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees,
All right.
no more 9 to 5. What a way to make a living.
Stories.
Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living.
What's going on, Crypto Paradise fam? We are back with another midweek market update, and I think today's going to be a good one. Everybody should be in good spirits today that's watching. We've got green candles again for the first time in many, many weeks. No longer speculating about the pump. We got the pump, baby. Joining me as always, the Hitman. What's going on today?
What is going on? And we're seeing green not only in Bitcoin for once, Ethereum finally back over $1,800. So we'll take that. But we see here, you know, I don't know if you guys can see my chart. The Bitcoin chart has been playing out how we've been talking about in these live shows. So hopefully you guys have been tuning into the live shows and the recorded videos. The last live show, we were down here around 82, 83,000. I said we can get to an upside objective of 88 and we would be rejected. I didn't think we were going to get rejected this hard, but this was the NASDAQ major drop-off, a rejection nonetheless. We found our bullish divergence in our bottom, and what do you know? We're consolidating in this range. We put out a plethora of live shows, recorded content on Crypto Paradise, Learn Crypto on personal accounts, saying this looks like a bull flag with a measured move of $96,000 or so, between 96 and 97,000. We're currently at 94,225. So although everybody is stoked and happy, this is going to be a good, happy episode, we do have to have a little concern because you are going to see major overhead resistance at this 96,000-ish range. 94 to 99,000 is a massive resistance area. The measured move has confluence at $96,300. And, of course, we still have the major mental barrier of $100,000 once again. So as we rip and roar here, understand that if we see some downside volatility, it is okay and it is healthy. My analysis, if you're gonna, if the market's gonna do what the market does, and that means make it hard on as many people as possible to make money. We get in this range, maybe we do get to the full measure move of 96,000 or so, and we can pull back to 90,000, and that would be major support at these previous highs, and then we go up to new all-time highs again. Right when you start dropping, you get to 90, you get to 89,000. People said, "Oh, that was fun. It's over. Oh, Trump's killing the market again." Whatever it may be, that's when we'll rip and roar to new all-time highs. Maybe that's on the announcement that GameStop is buying their Bitcoin finally. There is the rumor that GameStop will be buying between $1.4 billion and $4 billion worth of Bitcoin. They have not made any public announcement yet that they have bought any. So is this rally being fueled by GameStop behind the scenes, or does GameStop still need to buy? I think that's a big question that you guys need to ask yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been seeing the same thing. Tons of confluence on a number of different indicators. I think there's a really strong fib level around 96. We had the previous macro high from a few months back at 95, 96 there. There's even some of the, if you guys are ever watched the moon charts, the bull and the bear moons, the projected move for the most recent bull moon that we got, the new moon coming in is up to like between 95 and 96. So lots and lots of stuff coming into that area. Would expect a pullback there, but when everybody's expecting Bitcoin to do one thing, that's when it's going to do the opposite. So, as always, be cautious around here, but cautious optimism for once instead of the alternative is really it's nice to see in the markets here.
Well, and the thing we've been preaching on every space is every video, don't mind the price predictions. That's one thing. Like, okay, cool. We got it right. It's looking good. The other thing that we've been saying, regardless of the short-term price predictions, is don't forget how quickly morale and momentum can change on Bitcoin and in crypto. And that's what's happening right here. At those lows, nobody wanted it. You thought everybody's saying it's going to 65,000, 70,000. Oh my God, doom and gloom. And now you blinked an eye over the holiday weekend. If you were out of town, you just missed a move from 75,000 to $95,000 Bitcoin. And these are the type of moves that happen in crypto. We're starting to see alts wake out. Literally, Ethereum went from $1,600 to $1,800, and now some of your favorite alts are up 20, 25, 30%. Momentum, morale, and liquidity can change so rapidly in crypto. If you tune out of Crypto Paradise for too many days, or if you sell your entire portfolio at the lows, you can get left behind rapidly in this market. And 90% of Bitcoin's gains for a year occur in its 10 biggest market move days of the year as well. That just shows you that you need to be in the market to win. You need to be paying attention, and you can't be left behind by getting rid of your whole portfolio when Jim Cramer's telling you that we're going to zero.
Absolutely. And a great thing to be watching right now. We'll probably talk a little bit more about this. Is a bit of divergence between stocks and Bitcoin finally, but what is not divergent, what is holding true is if you flip over to the Dixie, the dollar bounced off the 200-day moving average and has been coming down right in line with what we expect to see Bitcoin pumping up. And the dollar expected to continue to fall as well over the next couple weeks, maybe months here, which again should drive Bitcoin higher. How long that holds true, where does the dollar bottom out, is anybody's guess. But another good indicator that we're going to continue to see Bitcoin run over the next month or so here.
Yeah, and a weak dollar is good for risk on assets such as Bitcoin, and people don't understand that the dollar is trading just like the yuan, just like the euro, just like everything else. And people see in the news that the yuan or the euro is down huge, and the Canadian dollar is down against the dollar, but the dollar is still down as well. And this is more of a proxy of the errors in fiat currencies, where empty money supply is going up, governments are printing, quantitative easing is happening, and the value of your savings is going down and to the right. This is part of the reason why Dave Portner says stocks only go up. This is part of the reason why we're in Bitcoin. If you are comparing your asset and valuing it against the US dollar or any fiat currency that is constantly debasing itself and going down and to the right in spending power, then the asset you hold is going to go up and to the right in value compared to that asset. I know we still need the dollar. It's what we pay our bills in, or wherever, the euro or the Canadian dollar, wherever you're at. But understand that those dollars in a savings account getting you 0.1% interest, you are losing on a daily basis due to inflation, due to printing, and just due to the economics of fiat currency. And that is why Bitcoin is going to continue to go up and to the right. And that is why you have an opportunity to make massive gains with some of these cryptocurrencies and altcoins.
Absolutely. We got the here we go, this side, the Bitcoin beacon lit. We got the glasses on. It's a good day to be in crypto and a good day to be a part of the Crypto Paradise fam. Shout out to everybody that's already tuned in here. We got 64 viewers already in the live stream here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Give us a like, give us a retweet and a comment. Really, really helps out the algorithm, helps us grow this channel and give more back to you. If you're not familiar, if you're new with the channel, we do giveaways every single week in our Telegram mini app. You can find that in on our X page link there. We've got a great alpha group as well on Telegram. Everybody mixing it up in there, talking about the upcoming launch of our Surf token, projects that we're working with, any pre-sales that we're doing, all kinds of stuff going on in there. A lot of great traders and longtime crypto OGs in that group as well. If you're not a part of that, you can find links to the Telegram mini app as well as our Telegram group on our X page. Crypto Paradise on X there. Definitely encourage you to check that out. And again, welcome to everybody that is watching. Appreciate you guys. None of this is possible without any of you. So welcome to the midweek market update. Starting out with a little market analysis as usual. This is a show where we come on once a week and just kind of update you on what's been going on the past week. Try and keep you in the know on all the top line 30,000 foot view stuff and diving into some of the topics a little more niche as well. One topic that I don't know if you got some more stuff on the charts here if you wanted to hop into the pulse chain stuff.
Yeah, let's go over the NASDAQ just briefly because we were kind of talking about it. Because the more I look at this NASDAQ chart, the more it's looking like 1965 when our president did a similar thing and started tariffing the world and particularly automobiles. This is a very similar chart pattern. We've been talking about how we think there's a V-shaped recovery, consolidation either at this red line or this red line, and then we head to new all-time highs for traditional markets. And if you guys want to learn more about what I'm talking about, because we're not going to go over it all here, check out Crypto Hitman in this pinned video where you're going to see the comparison of the black line, which is current markets, and the pink line, which is history repeating itself in 1965, 1966, which would incline that we do have a recovery over the remainder of this year into Q1 2026, new all-time highs in the stock market. And if we're getting new all-time highs in the stock market while we're getting quantitative easing and rate cuts from the Fed, while we're getting the 4-year halving cycle from Bitcoin, and while we're getting institutional adoption for risk on assets such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, we are going to see massive gains, not only in your 401k portfolio, but absolutely the biggest and potential longest Bitcoin bull market in the history of existence. So don't fade that. Look at some of these fractals. Look at some of this history repeating itself. And it continues to play out as we consolidate here on the NASDAQ. So, yeah, let's talk about go ahead, finish up, and I'll
go for it. We've been talking for a couple of weeks. If anybody that's been watching a long time, we're getting ready to launch our own Surf token here, community token for a number of different things, including access to some high-quality pre-sales coming up in the future. But we decided to launch that on Pulse Chain, take advantage of some of those liquidity webs. The more we learn about that ecosystem and all the opportunities there. And obviously the last couple of weeks has been some FUD with the Pulse Chain ecosystem, with the PDI around Richard Hart himself with the SEC lawsuit. But finally seeing some resolutions on that here today.
Yeah, so Richard Hart tweeted himself and showed the legal documentation from the Security Exchange Commission. Essentially, the SEC has decided they are not going to amend their case, and they are going to give in and admit their loss. Now, why is this interesting? SEC rarely loses in court. They either settle, like you had Ripple pay hundreds of billions of dollars, Coinbase pay $50 million. Usually the company settles with the SEC just to get it over with, or the SEC will dismiss the case so it isn't a loss on the record. The interesting part here is if you know anything about Richard Hart, he is in it for glory, and he is in it, he keeps saying, for the betterment of crypto as a whole. He thinks it sets a bad precedent if he would lose in court or settle out of court, because everything that he has done, he believes, is the freedom, financial freedom of every participant in cryptocurrencies. The judge ruled that he won the case. This was about 30 days ago. Then the judge said, all right, SEC, I'll give you another 30 days to amend your case, see if you have any new evidence. And the 21st was the last day that SEC could amend the case. SEC came out with a statement yesterday saying they are not going to amend, and the case is now closed. Richard Hart officially beat the SEC in court pertaining to Hex and pertaining to Pulse Chain. Obviously, that caused some green candles over on Pulse Chain, but also what people are excited for is this frees up Richard Hart to potentially get more active on Twitter, get back doing live streams, start moving around the funds that were raised. Over $1 billion was raised for this project, and we are already starting to see 100 Ethereum was bridged into Pulse Chain and started buying the blue chips. When that happened, Pulse Chain went up double-digit percentage gains across the board. People speculate that this can continue to happen throughout the course of this bull market. Also, this is kind of a leverage play on Ethereum itself. So Ethereum having a nice rally, the better Ethereum does. Pulse Chain has liquidity bonding with that, which means Pulse Chain is getting dragged up as well. As far as, go ahead.
I was going to say, we've seen what larger-than-life personalities in this space can do for an ecosystem. Charles Hoskinson is a great example of that. Cardano for years now really hasn't put out much in the way of technology, yet they have some of the most diehard community, and I think a lot of that rests on Charles Hoskinson is just such a great advocate for the chain and what it can do potentially in the future. Keeping them in their top 10, top 20. Crypto. I'm not sure where they're sitting exactly right now, but multi-billion-dollar market cap. Network largely based on their main character of their founder. Richard Hart is another very enigmatic character like a Charles Hoskinson, but he's essentially been muzzled for the last couple of years due to this SEC cases. Now he's given the SEC a black eye, sent him home with their tail between their legs. He's going to be unleashed back into the interwebs, back on social media. I imagine it's going to be very, very bullish for the entire Pulse Chain ecosystem. I think we're going to start to see more and more projects benefiting from that liquidity web.
Yeah, and I think what is also, whether you like Richard Hart or whether you're on Pulse Chain yet or not, you should definitely get on Pulse Chain. But I think it is good for the entire crypto ecosystem, crypto community that he won, because it sets a precedent. Not only did he not go into their bribery, because that's what SEC wants. They want to get all these people for money. You got Ripple and hundreds of millions, billions of dollars from the good companies in the space. Meanwhile, FTX was okay, and that one was a scam. So that's hilarious. But he decided, nope, I'm going to fight this. And everything that he proved in court around the sacrifice, the raising of funds, the launching of decentralized applications, all this stuff now is in the clear. He won on all fronts. And remember, he has a decentralized exchange. He has a layer 1 network. He has multiple tokens. He has the dividend-paying Hex token. And all of those beat the SEC, which just opens up the ability for other developers and other projects to kind of mimic or launch their own tokens and not have fear of repercussions from the SEC. And really that benefits the users because we don't need to worry about red bars from the SEC saying, hey, we're going to sue XYZ token. So that's good to see. If you want to follow the performance of Pulse Chain, my favorite is just goldpulse.com. It's kind of like the coin gecko of Pulse Chain. But what's nice is right on this homepage, you can see all the blue chips. You can see their performance, click on, see their charts, whatever it may be. So this is the one that I use. And from here, you can see like the most popular coins and stuff focused primarily on Pulse Chain. If you're new to the space, this is where you want to go. You can bridge in Ethereum to Pulse Chain ecosystem with a few clicks for a few dollars, and you are good to go. Now, talking about Pulse Chain, go ahead.
I was going to say, speaking of CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, to this point, pretty much none of the Pulse Chain assets have been able to list on there. Again, due to the regulatory concerns with the SEC, this case is going to change all that. That one of the reasons is Pulse Chain has had a hard time going mainstream is, simply because of, a lot of the main infrastructure players in our space didn't want to touch them until the SEC business is settled. Now that it's officially settled, again, another bullish case, another bullish catalyst in the corner of all the Pulse Chain and the Richard Hart fans, the Hexicans, whatever we call them, to see this entire ecosystem continue to grow.
Yeah, and so only a couple assets from Pulse Chain have got listed on CoinGecko. One is the Grace currency PTGC, which we've talked about, now at $93 million market cap, ranked at 467. And then another one is actually Teddy, which is a new meme coin on there. They're bringing the meme coins back to life. This one is ranked 1,675, 7.5 million market cap. We gave that one live in Crypto Paradise and Learn Crypto at a $1.5 million market cap just a week ago. It just launched. You can see here in the chart. We were down here on this first green candle that CoinGecko is showing. So Pulse Chain assets are starting to get listed on CoinGecko. It'd be nice if the blue chips get on there and we see some of these float to the top. As these things get to the higher pages, that's going to get more people the morale to actually want to bridge into Pulse Chain. So, of course, with Pulse Chain, we'll talk about it again. We will be launching the Surf token soon over there. Surf token is going to have multiple utilities. A, holding will get you access to pre-sales. B, you're going to be part of the liquidity web, meaning if you hold, you're going to get reflection rewards. C, the liquidity web is also going to be burning and buying tokens off the open market, creating a nice floor price of that Surf token and deflationary token economics that we want. And then D, it will be a token associated with the Crypto Paradise brand. So the better Crypto Paradise does, whether it's marketing deals, whether it's sponsorships, collaborations, a portion of those funds can go towards promoting and enhancing the value of the Surf tokens for all of its token holders. So stay tuned. That will be launching very soon. We are going to be launching in collaboration with X Protocol and following in the footsteps of PTGC. If you want to know how well PTGC has been doing, just come over to my Twitter page. I think we actually posted this on Crypto Paradise as well. I've been on a tweet storm lately, so we got to scroll here a bit. But where is it? Jeez, I didn't know I was this active, Nate.
Hard to keep up.
Too much going on. There is a video in here somewhere. Right here. Aliens are real. April 16th, if you want to find it. This is a quick video explaining how PTGC is working, and you can see just how many fees they are earning that is being used for buybacks and burns, buybacks and liquidity ads, and staker rewards. Obviously, this is one of the biggest in the Pulse Chain ecosystem. They're at like a $93 million, $94 million market cap, but we are emulating a similar web for Surf token that hopefully drives volume, drives liquidity, and drives the activation of buybacks and burns and reflection rewards. Remember, these guys have been around for 18 months, so it took them some time to build up. They launched at a very low market cap, and now they're all the way at $95 million market cap. Surf token is hoping it can do the same. We're looking to launch between 5K and 20K market cap. That's it. Imagine you could have got into PTGC at a $20,000 market cap, and now it's at $95 million while producing passive income. That's going to be an opportunity with Surf token leading into this bull market and getting involved with Pulse Chain near the lows. So take a look at this video and try to push that over onto the possibilities of the Surf token.
Yeah, if you want to find out more about that, if you want to keep up to date with the launch of the Surf token, make sure you are in that Telegram group we mentioned at the top of the show when we kicked it off here. Coming up right on the 100 viewers mark right now. Well, again, welcome to everybody that's tuning in. If you're not following us on X, that's where you're going to hear the latest and greatest about the upcoming Surf token launch, as well as jumping in our Telegram group. So be sure and check that out. You can see it right there at on the X page. Links to everything that you need right there. But
if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to throw them on YouTube or Twitter. We'll try to get to those. Hopefully we can see them. If not, I guess, Nate, we're going to move it forward with a couple more news articles. And remember, this is recorded, so if you want to go back and watch what we were talking about, we went over the Bitcoin markets, Ethereum markets, the NASDAQ, our price predictions. You know, we've been on point lately, so you might want to reflect back to those. That way, emotionally, you're ready for the roller coaster that is ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned Bitcoin, a little bit about Ethereum. Ethereum breaking 1,800 again there finally, but green across the board. So a lot of double-digit gainers. A lot, Solana up 22% in the last 7 days. Doge up 20%. Cardano, number 9 token there, up almost 20%. Sui, the biggest gainer here in the looks like the top 20 with a 42% gain there. But yeah, pretty much all of the top 20 tokens there in double-digit gains. So loving what we're seeing in the markets here. As part of that, Bitcoin market cap now surpasses Google to become the 5th largest asset in the world. Just another milestone in what will be an amazing history to look back on with Bitcoin here. I'm not sure who's next.
I had a late last night video, or a late last night Twitter scroll because I had a late soccer game. I got home at like midnight, and this is interesting that this just happened because the post was Bitcoin flipped Amazon for the first time in history to make it the 6th largest. We wake up 8 hours later and now it's flipping Google. I don't know if that's the first time in history for Google, but now it's the 5th largest asset. Pretty wild. But people think, well, how much more upside is there in Bitcoin then? But one of the top assets, of course, is gold. And there's still another 5 or 6x that could happen to even be on parity with gold, which is pretty crazy to say. gold is seen as the inflation hedge, seen as this, hold it, it protects your wealth, preserves your wealth. Yet more and more gold is being mined and found all over the world. China said they found, hundreds of billions of dollars in a new vein that they never knew existed. Meanwhile, Bitcoin has a set inflationary rate. On-chain analytics can tell you how many tokens are even available. And we know that the inflation is cutting every 4 years. So I think one is going to end up being a better store of value than the other over the long term.
Well, it certainly has a better chance to appreciate and bring you more gains. That's for damn sure. But
I agree.
And along with that, more and more institutions jumping into the Bitcoin space, whether that's nation states, whether that's individual states in the U.S. We've covered a couple times in the last few weeks here, different states across the U.S. Passing their own Bitcoin strategic reserves and other Bitcoin or cryptocurrency laws. But we're seeing more and more adoption on the institutional side. Wall Street giant Cantor Fitzgerald, this guy should look pretty familiar here. Part of Trump's cabinet, helping out with a lot of digital regulatory items, but putting together a $3 billion fund to create a massive stockpile of Bitcoin. When they want to compete with MicroStrategy, throwing their hat in with the likes of GameStop, El Salvador, the U.S. government. Really bullish stuff in terms of new buyers coming into the space.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate again, guys, the one thing that I'm watching, obviously we have a lot of confluence saying 96,000 range will be a short-term top on Bitcoin. The one thing I'm watching really closely, I'm trying to get the details and the information on GameStop. Is this rally being fueled or supported by GameStop buying between $1.4 to $5 billion on Bitcoin, or is GameStop not even bought yet? If GameStop hasn't bought yet, shareholders like myself are going to be a little disappointed because I've leaned in to GameStop around $22. It's at like $27, $28 with the expectations that, hey, they're going to get on the Bitcoin strategy like MicroStrategy, and I think Bitcoin goes higher. And also they're leaning into TCG, which is trading card games like Pokemon, really trying to make money off that market. And if they miss this dip, they announced that they wanted to buy when Bitcoin was in the 80s while it was dropping to like 75K. And now we're 75 to 95. If they didn't buy anything during that period when they got that kind of a dip, that is not great for shareholders. But it does mean that for Bitcoin holders, there's going to be a lot more upside because they're not going to back out of the Bitcoin strategy. That means they will be buying this rally up and pushing it towards 100,000 and beyond. Now, if they've already bought secretly and they come out and announce today, hey, GameStop has fully bought $4 billion in Bitcoin between the average price of $92,000, understand that we probably will see us sell the news because that is a lot of new market participation that was holding the floor on Bitcoin, giving it support and giving it momentum to the upside. And it's going to take a little bit of time for us to find the next buyer of $4 billion worth of Bitcoin.
Well, we see a lot of different confluence pushing Bitcoin up. Obviously, these institutional buyers are huge, but this global M2 supply that we've been talking about, you can see going all the way back to 2023 here, probably longer. That's pretty good correlation there, if you ask me. But we see the money supply absolutely rocketing since the beginning of this year. Bitcoin on a bit of a delay, but mirroring it almost perfectly. Looking to set Bitcoin up for an absolutely explosive into this or second half of the year here if it continues to follow the M2 money supply and to upward and onwards to new all-time highs and beyond.
Yeah, I'm still not wavering. $244,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2025 is still in play. When I was saying that a week ago at 75,000, it seems a little crazy. But now, a nice 20% rally. We're in the 90s. People are feeling good. And now other people are saying 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. So it's pretty crazy how fast people switch their mindset and their morale. And it's pretty crazy how fast people flip-flop on what you see on Twitter. I think that's what we try to do at Crypto Paradise, whether that's myself, you, or Crypto Amaru, is we kind of look at the bigger picture, set our projections and our predictions. Not that we're not willing to pivot, but we're not going to flip-flop with every daily market move, which I think is what provides the most value to our community. We have objectives of much higher. Whether we get to fully 244,000 or not, we'll see. But I think that gives you an indication that we're bullish for the remainder of 2025 and beyond. We've been saying that the 4-year halving cycle could break. Normally, we should top out in October or the last quarter of this year. It could lead into 2026 and beyond, just the way that the macro fundamentals are laying out for Bitcoin. The M2 money supply is laying out for Bitcoin. The Fed cuts are laying out for Bitcoin. And a lot of people could be cut off guard, taking profits at the end of the year when really we still have another 3 months, 6 months to go for the bull market.
That being said, never be afraid to take profits. You gotta have your own risk tolerance. Gotta make sure that you have your own plan in place. Make your plan and work it. So, overall, definitely very, very bullish on the second half of this bull run. whether that starts immediately or we kind of again trickle up this summer for a big blow off in Q3. It's great to see all the assets moving in the right direction, though. This is kind of a bit of a dismal picture to look at here. April 22nd, Bitcoin 66,000, Ethereum almost 3,200, and Solana at 154. Now here we are a year later to the day. Bitcoin at 90,000. Nice performance there. Ethereum down. It was at 1,600 yesterday, and Solana back around 142. So, Ethereum down almost half. Solana under what it was a year ago. Only Bitcoin, being the strongest surviving asset of what's been a wild kind of beginning to this year here. But hopefully we see all of these numbers turn around and start chasing Bitcoin. We really haven't quite had that alt season yet that everybody's been looking forward to.
The Bitcoin dominance put in like a new all-time high a few days ago. Obviously, that's down a little bit today because we have seen Solana, Ethereum, and some altcoins giving us some green candles. Ethereum up to 1,800, so we got to start somewhere. But really, the fun doesn't start until that breaking above that mental barrier of 2,000 for Ethereum. Then I think more alts continue to rally just due to the liquidity ties and morale of that sector of the ecosystem. And we really want to see like Ethereum 5,000. If Ethereum gets to 5,000, that would be a new high for the cycle move. You're going to start seeing massive FOMO in the altcoins, and you're going to be seeing layer 2s and layer 1s, such as Pulse Chain, really explode. First of all, due to liquidity bonding. Second of all, due to the treasury being tied to Ethereum. And third of all, that's probably when Ethereum's transaction fees go up once again, become a little more unaffordable, and people look to these other scaling solutions for altcoin plays.
Yeah, and I mean, we've all been big proponents of the pre-sale game. That's kind of been our bread and butter for a long time. I know all of the Crypto Paradise fans would love to see that long-awaited alt season come through. We got a little bit of it in late 23 and 24 with some of the early AI tokens, but since then, man, pre-sales have been dead. Alts have been suffering. So we'll see how that dynamic continues to play out here.
And in those small altcoins that we had, the play was really you had to be quick with the gun. Like, we'd get in the pre-sale, wait a couple months for launch, and if you sold your first allocations and your second allocations, you're making money plus getting your full investment back, and now you have free tokens that you're hoping pumps. But if you held on to those, because in the past, if you held on to those, waited for the vesting period, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, that's when you had the massive gains because the alt season was there. This last mini alt season, you really had to be quick to sell some of those tokens, and now we're sitting on free tokens that are waiting for a secondary pump. Hopefully with a more sustainable altcoin season leading through this end of this year, we're going to go back to where we get in these pre-sales. You don't want to sell that first allocation. You want to kind of weather the storm for 2, 3, 4 months, and then you want to be selling later on this year into early next year for the massive gains that we saw back in 2020.
Yeah, I'm sitting on a lot of bags myself. Probably should have liquidated it a bit more while they were up, but if we do get that all pump, again, that patience will be rewarded. So not ever financial advice. You gotta have your own plan according to your own risk tolerance, but what we're trying to do here is provide you with a little alpha, little insights to better educate you to make the best moves for yourself and your portfolio. Galaxy Digital, speaking of making portfolio changes, Galaxy Digital, Mike Novowitz, very famous crypto investor, one of the OGs in the space. They just sold $106 million worth of ETH for Solana, happening in the last couple days here. I don't know we've got a lot of mixed feelings on the Ethereum ecosystem here, and some of the heavyweights kind of weighing in, letting their mind be shown with their wallet here.
Before I go any further on that, wasn't Mike Novogratz the guy who got a Luna tattoo on his arm? I think it was.
One of the top.
So I would take this decision with a grain of salt. Maybe this is a Jim Cramer type of situation where he's marking the bottom for Solana or Ethereum versus Solana pair. I don't know. Look, he's been in the space for a long time. He's got a lot of money. They've done their thing, but let's not pretend like these guys are all hailing geniuses and they've always been right. This guy put a huge percentage of his portfolio. I can't remember what he said, but it was a big percentage, like 25% or more, into Luna, which went to zero. Got a tattoo on his arm, which went to zero. Didn't even have the funds to get a laser removed. Still has it on his arm. So let's be careful with what we see here. Obviously, I've been a proponent saying that Ethereum has had some issues. I don't like their leadership. I don't like that Asian chick who is leading it. I think Vitalik Buterin is on the spectrum, doesn't know how to be the face. It's in there dancing on stage, and they have no Chads over there. The Chads are the holders. Now, they've gone a new foundation. They said they're going to stop selling Ethereum. We'll see if they make the move. Obviously, the degenerates in the meme coin and the pump fund and all that has been on Solana, which has been giving them the hype. But this is a big move by Galaxy Digital. That's a lot of money selling into the small Ethereum pump, rotating into Solana. What does it mean? I don't know. But is it end all be all? This is the guy who literally went all in on Luna and lost all of his money. So we'll see.
That is a fair point. If I had to, toss my hat in one ring or the other, I'd be a little more confident on gains in Solana over Ethereum. But unless you're playing with a serious amount of money like these guys are, probably looking at relatively similar gains amongst the two of them. If Bitcoin goes if Ethereum goes absolutely ballistic and hits our, most people's kind of stretch goals is around $10,000 this cycle for Ethereum, a little over a 5x, very similar for Solana right now. Most people, against their moon goals for Solana is a little over $1,000. Solana at like 140, 150 right now. So again, a little over a 5x to that spot there. So in terms of who's going to move first, maybe Solana is moving first. Maybe they're looking to rotate some bags. But at the end of the day, I think either one, if you're looking for safe spots or relatively low risk spots to park some cash, either Ethereum or Solana, depending on what is your flavor of investment, are going to be good bets here for some substantial gains over the next couple months.
And I'll go against the curve there and stick with what I've been sticking with, and one of the best performers that nobody really talks about this cycle so far is BNB. BNB was outperforming every asset, even Bitcoin, just a month or two ago before Bitcoin dominance rose here. And, CZ's active again. Binance still one of the leading crypto exchanges. BSC still very active, adding new features to their chain. So I like BNB as a low risk play. Obviously, it's up here above $600. So I don't know what you get out of it. Maybe we'll get a 4, 5, 6x like these guys. But BNB has been very good to us and has been an overperformer in down months historically this past 1, 2, 3 years. So let's see if history repeats itself with BNB as well.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And there's, multiple more of these, market-wide catalysts coming to fruition here. More and more keeps coming out on the tariff front, looking like things are going to get settled between the U.S. and China, the last holdout with these tariffs, very soon. When the China issues get settled, we're going to see a lot more market stability. And that's probably what's along with rate cuts, going to help trigger that M2 money supply to start flowing into crypto assets along with other risk-on assets. But we just took a look at that chart of the absolute massive stockpiles of cash sitting on the sidelines, waiting for market stability to help make them more confident. These big investors, these big institutions, they're not looking for high risk plays. They're looking for the safe money, the safe bets. Right now, this market is anything but certain. So getting these tariffs resolved, getting more clear regulatory framework in the U.S., getting some rate cuts scheduled is going to help make all these investors a lot more confident in bringing some of that cash back into assets like Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto environment. So great stuff to see there. We've been saying it for weeks and weeks. Aside from the price, everything within crypto has been bullish. Now we got the price aligning as well. So exciting stuff. Looking forward to what could be a great summer and an amazing rest of the year.
The White House yesterday announced that they have 34 meetings set up with 34 different countries over the course of this week to negotiate new trade deals and tariff deals, playing a little softer with China. So hopefully we get on the phone with them, and playing a little softer with Jerome Powell. In a conference yesterday, Trump said, no, I have no plan of firing Jerome Powell. That's just the media running with that. I hope he realizes he should cut rates, but I'm going to kind of leave him alone. So, kind of pushed on the levers and is now pulling back the reins on some of these negotiations, and some of these deals can hopefully get done over the course of, the 14 days in which tariffs have been enacted. Obviously, revenue is coming to the government. The gold cards have brought in revenue. So hopefully we're working towards less government spending. And if you can get rid of the government deficit a bit, that's what's really driving inflation. And the fact that we are doing these things and bringing in revenue is what is keeping the inflation numbers down. And I have high expectations that in May, since the Fed is on a lag, they're going to finally see sub 2% inflation numbers on their side, which was their goal to start cutting rates. If we get all this mixture lines up with some rate cuts and some cheap money, people like to be greedy when they can get cheap money and dump them into speculative assets like collectibles and Bitcoin. We saw that in COVID, led to massive runs. It also led to massive runs in other collectible markets like watches and Rolexes, etc. And I think history could be lining up to repeat itself. Maybe it's not as explosive as COVID, but also COVID didn't really have the timing lineup as far as, crypto president, crypto SEC, crypto blah, blah, blah. And this time around, we do have all that in play, which could help on the regulatory front as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're one of the 128 people watching right now, take confidence in the fact that you are still early, whether it's early for this cycle or early for what is coming down the road in the next few decades with crypto, with Bitcoin. You are early right now. Everything that we're covering for the most part, it's a lot of institutional stuff, and institutions are usually at the forefront before most retail. So if you are a retail participant already in the market, take confidence, take solace in the fact that you're already a step ahead of the game and winning. After the institutional money is in and we see markets really start to blow up, that's where all that FOMO comes in. That's where we're going to see all the retail normies start to ape in. Again, it's things like this that are going to help enable that to make a major impact and get those people into crypto much easier. Financial regulator, the OCC, which deals with a lot of the banking regulations in the U.S., coming out and announcing that U.S. banks can now legally engage in crypto-related activities, custody crypto, stablecoin reserves, etc. Now, what exactly that is going to mean, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of litigation, a lot of lawyers and judges, different branches of the government getting involved with this. This isn't something where you're going to be able to walk into your local bank tomorrow and go start buying Bitcoin. But again, this is the kind of stuff that's going to enable retail to get into the markets with ease. It's been a huge barrier to this point, and something that we've been saying on our all the videos that we've been making for a long time. The burden is on us. We talk about being radical builders and building the technology is going to change the world. Well, we've done a very poor job of the UX UI side of things with crypto. It is still an overcomplicated nightmare for anybody that's new coming into crypto. So if we want to see mass retail adoption, it's going to happen one of two ways. One, it's going to be through the existing systems like banks that we already have in place, or it's going to be through decentralized mechanisms that we build. Now, I think most of us here that are watching this, we're early enough. We're in that camp of wanting that to be on the DeFi side of things. We want that to be apps built by crypto native people, with the ethos of freedom, of censorship proof, transparent digital currencies for everybody, that egalitarian ethos of crypto. We're not going to get that with the bank. So, this is one of those kind of bullish and bearish at the same time kind of news stories. We also saw earlier this week Coinbase, after being, the anti-bank for years, now applying for U.S. banking licenses. So, good and bad that comes with this. It's good to get the publicity. It's good that we're seeing the rails being put up for mass adoption, but we would prefer that to see that coming from inside of the crypto ecosystem. So wake up call for any builders that we have in the space. It's time that we got to kick it in gear, guys. We got to start producing on the levels of what's to be expected to bring in all the normies, to bring in that mainstream adoption.
Well, and I think this goes with why the Richard Hart case was so important, because realistically 90% of people are low IQ when it comes to technology. That's just, you don't want to call them dumb. It's just the way it is. They're going to do what they're told to do, and they're going to do what they're told to do by the people they trust. That's going to be their financial advisor. That's going to be their banker. That's going to be their doctor. They just do what they're told to do, and they go through life and they do it. So the fact of the matter is that institutional adoption with these ETFs from BlackRock, and if Bitcoin can start, or if banks can start custodizing Bitcoin and other assets, that's bullish for the space, because people are going to do what they're told to do, and they're going to start buying it because these are all fee-based companies. They want to make money off your grandma that's going in there. And yes, grandma can make money on Bitcoin too, but the bank is going to take their piece. So I think this is ultimately bullish for the ecosystem and bullish for prices. But like you said, we prefer DeFi and to be your own bank, have your own keys. Now, I think only 10% of the world can get to that point. Maybe 1% of the world is at the point now where they can have their own keys and have MetaMask. I think we can get that up to 10. And this is why the Richard Hart case was important, because it is a win in court for DeFi, for financial freedom, and for speaking, having the right to free speech via blockchain. So that will allow us to expand from 1 to 10%, do it safely, securely, and in a regulatory framework that works for us. But for the other 90%, I know people hate it. They need this ease of use. They just need it. They're never going to figure it out otherwise. They're never going to invest in it otherwise. That's it. Realize that a lot of gold holdings aren't physical gold. People aren't even going to the pawn shop, buying gold, buying a safe, and putting it in their safe. It's either in jewelry that they own, or it is in paper gold on the stock market. Because why? Their financial advisor said, hey, we're going to take 1 to 5% of your portfolio. We're going to buy this gold ETF, and it's going to sit there as a hedge against the market. That's why gold is priced at where it is, because so many financial advisors are telling that 90%, this is what we're doing. You have 100K, we're going to put 5K in gold. That's it. Set it, forget it. That's what we're going with. If your portfolio then goes from 100K to 200K, we're going to put another 5K in gold. The same is starting to happen for Bitcoin. If banks and other people get the proper regulation, now you're going to have bankers. You're going to be going in like, hey, did you hear about our new Bitcoin savings account? You should try that out. If you buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, you get 5% APR over a yearly basis. That's what's coming. That's great for price. And if you don't like it, well, the SEC just lost in court to say that we can participate in DeFi, hopefully outperform those people, be our own banks. But it's just the nature of the game. It's just what's going to happen. People were saying the same thing for gold when the gold ETF launched. But let me tell you, the gold ETF led to a decade-long bull market. And I wouldn't mind that for Bitcoin. I don't know about you.
Not a damn bit. That would be fantastic. I think my long-term vision, this has always been, very similar to what you said, for now, we need these institutions. Our parents and a lot of even our generation isn't tech savvy enough to be able to get in and do some of this self custody DeFi stuff. But as the apps improve and as these generations kind of phase out, the youngest generation is growing up with all these tools in hand, right? They're growing up with attached to an iPad from an early age. They have AI at their fingertips. We're less than a generation out from people having ease of access and hopefully better tools and the technical acumen to be able to use DeFi properly. So, in the short term, I think these are kind of a necessary evil. It's going to help build the on-ramp. It's going to help put a ton of money and liquidity into the ecosystem. And, a generation from now, when the vast majority of people that are investing money are much more tech savvy, utilizing AI tools, etc., that's where I think we can really start to see all these DeFi platforms really thrive and start to phase out some of these traditional, rails and systems that we have in place. So in some ways, I see them kind of signing their own death warrant by, they're kind of playing the short game to get in here. But in the long run, I think we win that battle there.
I would agree.
Yeah.
What else we got going on today?
Oh, just some love to see this. The overall market cap back above $3 trillion. Great to see that. Again, just a great thing to put in perspective here. The U.S. stock market alone, not even worldwide stocks, not talking about real estate, just the U.S. stock market alone is around $90 trillion. Right, so that's a 30x the market cap. Again, U.S. stocks, 30x the entire worldwide crypto portfolio. Right, every dollar that's invested in crypto right now is 30x to get to where the U.S. stock market is. Not even talking about when we start including RWAs. I don't even know what the market cap of real estate is around the world. How many tens or hundreds?
What I was going to say too is, we're celebrating being back above 3 trillion market cap with Bitcoin here at 94,000 and some alts starting to move. And remember, this is CoinGecko, which includes tens of thousands of assets. Not every single crypto, but a lot of cryptos. We're celebrating over 3 trillion. The other day, a week ago, when there was the tariff panic on 401ks, the U.S. based stock market lost 3 trillion in value in one day. The U.S. based stock market lost more in one day than the entire market capitalization of crypto, and you still think you're not early.
Yeah, I mean
that's eye-opening even for me. That's crazy.
That's just what we got to look forward to in this industry. So again, pat yourself in the back. If you're one of the 134 people watching right now, you are very, very early. If it's your first time getting into crypto, your first time tuning into our live stream, you're early. Congratulations, welcome. And remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. This is not a get-rich-overnight industry, but this is where life-changing gains can be made if you're patient, if you take the time to learn and understand, you pick your niche, you get really good at something, and you're willing to play that long game. And the long game here, it doesn't necessarily need to be a 40-year work life like as you invest in your 401k. You can make the same kind of money that most people invest their entire lives for in a couple of years in a single cycle or two within crypto. So if you're here, take that as encouragement. You're not late. If you're a little late on this cycle, that's not a big deal. There's going to be plenty more cycles to come. This industry is just getting started. We're just starting to see that mainstream retail adoption with a lot of the stories we've been covering week after week of all these new institutions, regulatory bodies, nation states. There 100% will be a war for Bitcoin at some point in the future, where you see China, Russia, the U.S., the U.K., the EU, nation states all around the world, everybody scrambling to get their hands on Bitcoin. You want to get your hand in that pot before they do. So, again, congratulations to you. If you're here, you're early, and we got a long road ahead of us, but it's going to be a very fun journey with lots of good times in the between. And when you're riding that emotional roller coaster that is investing, you got to always remember to try and keep a level head.
Yeah, and for the 138 people who are watching right now, we maybe have time for one or two more topics, because in 8 minutes we are doing a Twitter Spaces over on Crypto Paradise. So make sure to tune in for that. Get off the live stream with us. Get into the Spaces. Share this stuff, guys. I know we are helping you because a lot of the altcoins that we've talked about are up big off the lows here. We've also talked about microcaps that have done multiple gains. The most recent one was Teddy at 1.5 million market cap. It's to 7.5 million in a week. So you're 5x your money on that. And of course, our projections for Bitcoin and Ethereum and staying bullish on the cycle has all turned out so well so far off the lows as well. So keep tuning in. We got 7 minutes left, Nate, to wrap this up, and then follow us over to the Spaces. If you want to learn more, there's going to be a new hot project, several projects over there talking, which means you get to hear from the leaders and the project creators themselves to see if there's some new gems that you can be picking up here at the lows of the market as Bitcoin and Ethereum start to turn the corner. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to leave off here. We were joking a little bit about this earlier. Crypto pumping again. You're going to take profits this time, right? Right? So, guys, always remember, do make sure we've all round trip bags many times. Make sure you're planning your work and then working your plan. But yeah, that's it for us here tonight. Definitely encourage you to tune in. This space we have coming up is a new flavor that you have not seen before with Crypto Paradise. We've got some DeFi experts on. They're going to be talking about some really interesting opportunities in the space to where you can, do some yield farming and a whole different way. There's 1,000 ways you can make money in this industry. We've got some great people coming in to talk about a very niche down way you can do that a lot of people, a lot of DeFi heads really love. Something that I am not super experienced in myself. So definitely looking forward to seeing that. And yeah, we'll give you guys a little breather here. Let you go grab a drink, hit the head if you need to. Pretend like you're doing some work if you're in the office for a few minutes before you flip into the next alpha stream here. But thanks again for watching. As always, if you can, give us a like, a retweet, a comment. Really helps everything out. Check out the mini app. We've got a new raffle about to start in there for this week. We just gave away another $100 in USDT last week. Yeah, best way to get involved with that is the Telegram group and the Telegram mini app. Yeah, that's it for me today. Awesome.
We will see you guys on the beach.
See you on the beach, guys. Take care.